Welcome to Flatfoots and Fools, a podcast about detective games. I'm Andrew, and today I'm joined by my partner, John. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Excited for my turn to talk about Case of the Golden Idol, including its DLCs.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to this one. We'll be continuing our discussion on the base game from the previous episode and diving into the two DLCs, Spider of Lanka and the Lemurian Vampire. So how did you feel about the base game here?
Coming from a point-and-click adventure background, this one felt more like, oh, you needed a noun, a verb, stuff like that. And it was different, even though I've seen other people's reviews about the games saying it's reminiscent of point-and-click, but it's not. This game is mostly literature. It's a book more than point-and-click, where point-and-click, you need context clues, you need putting together items. This is putting together words. It requires a sense of literacy that I haven't seen in other games so far that we've played. And that includes the Dark Side games.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all visual. You got to be able to explain it to somebody in words, and words are hard. So it was a lot different and it was refreshing.
Yeah. So this game was heavily inspired by Obra Dinn, and they explicitly tried to learn a lot of the lessons from Lucas Pope and the interviews he gave, because he had initially said, I tried to set up a whole sentence thing, but that turned out to just get wildly out of control because everyone can look at the same set of events and use slightly different words to describe it.
Yes.
So in order to do a confirmation, it had to have 100 permutations per person.
And officially, we haven't done Obra Dinn yet.
But we'll get there.
Yeah. I finished that game.
Mm-hmm. So for this one, Mad Libs is a great description, because they tried to keep it constrained enough that you don't have to worry about all of the different bits of sentence structure as well as communicating the concept.
Some of the ideas or some of the puzzles are difficult, but because it's a finite amount of words and combination of words, it's not insurmountable. This game was refreshing because you never feel cheated. You feel stupid when you realize, oh, so-and-so is actually so-and-so. They have similar character portraits. Or some cases, they do have character portraits. Oh man, I'm looking at this online walkthrough just to remember stuff. And now I'm in the background noticing stuff that you only learn about later in the game. Oh man.
Oh yeah, they're very good at breadcrumbing it.
Yeah, this game deserves a second playthrough. Yeah.
Did you play the Redux or the original?
I played the Redux. I do want to give a shout out to this one YouTuber, Chocoholi, which I believe is in Cambodia, because I used their Case of the Golden Idol 100% full walkthrough with all achievements, no commentary, to help me remember certain things and be able to rewind. They seem to play the same games we did. So I do appreciate that YouTuber help me visualize things.
So I played it originally with the original UI, which was very binary. It was it had just thinking versus investigating.
Because I'm looking at it now, it's different than when I played it. Oh, I didn't play on a Steam Deck this time. I played it on a PC.
Same.
On a mouse.
And it was very funny. I had a discussion with somebody recently, and they were like, I didn't notice any difference with the Redux UI. And I'm sitting there scratching my head, how could you not notice this? This was infinitely better. What? And what I ended up figuring out was they have a completely different play style. But what they would do is they would look at the scenes and then they would take external notes and try to figure out the entire mystery before opening the solve panel to avoid having any form of hint from the solution boxes.
Oh, sounds like they're trying to be a real detective.
It's real hard mode. And I know a couple of the people that try to do similar things. And what I realized is if you play like that, the new UI you're completely removing that step. Whereas if you effectively take notes on the solutions panel, which is what the Redux often allows you to do, you can pull up individual elements of it over the investigation section and be all right, here's the list of people and portraits. So as I'm working, I can be all right, here he's referencing Mr. Cloudsley, so I can stick Cloudsley's name on here.
Right.
And the Redux UI allows you to do that in little bits and pieces and be flexible in a way the original just didn't. Because you had to just binary flip between the two modes.
Yeah, I see the little arrow in a circle that says exploring or thinking right now.
Mm-hmm. So you couldn't be looking at any of the explorer stuff while you also had anything from the thinking up. Which I have really come to rely on in these games, being able to have some of the clues up and one of the solution panels up at the same time to be working with both.
I think that for the purposes of this podcast, I still would have played through it, but I would have probably, like you said, enjoyed the Redux so much more because it's just faster. It let me make mistakes. Like I said earlier, like, the puzzles aren't insurmountable. The answers are there. And I think it would take away from a lot of the frustration of like minor mistakes. I'm not gonna lie, there were plenty of times I brute forced the answer when I figured out like, oh, 2 of them are still wrong. Let's shuffle up and deal and try to brute force that bad boy.
Yeah, like you can play around right on that borderline where you're like, okay, 2 or less are wrong. Let's figure out which ones it is. And you start toggling ones you think are right. And usually it'll flip to 3. And then when you toggle one and it doesn't change, you're like, it's that one.
Like, is it the most Sherlock Holmes way to do it? Yes. Sherlock Holmes would definitely cheat to get the right answer. I was going to go the other way when I realized, like, no, he would definitely use every advantage he could. But like a real detective or the real world, no, you wouldn't have that. And those people that can do it with just pen and paper, yo, more power to them. But like, I'm playing this for funsies, man.
It's a completely different way to play, and that's fine. And it explained why, if you were doing that type of method, the changes didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
But for me, night and day different. And now that the base game has Redux by default, that's one of the proper ways to play now.
I mean, yeah, I won't poo-poo someone else's style, but playing for funsies.
And then this game is especially influential because a huge amount of other developers have been inspired by it and are either making games in a similar vein, or they're trying to iterate either a small or a very large amount kind of on the ideas and the formula.
What would you want to see out of what people take out of this game, of what you just said? What inspiration do you want to see more of from other games?
It's hard to know what I would want to see more of because I'm already starting to see it. And so I'm already being like, my thoughts on what I want are influenced by what I already know is out there.
Okay, then what are you happy to see?
So a great one is City of Voices is being developed by 2 game devs that also work on the expansions for Rise of the Golden Idol.
Mm-hmm.
And their idea was, okay, Golden Idol is almost all text-based. What if instead of words, it was images? And so you're still trying to answer questions, but you do it with images that you pick up instead of words.
Okay. I buy that.
So far, that's been really cool. Like, I really enjoyed that one. Only the demo is out so far, but I'm really looking forward to that. And then the biggest one that I liked is The Root Trees Are Dead.
Oh, I saw that. I think it's on sale right now.
Great game. We're absolutely going to have to cover it because sort of getting a little bit meta, like these games or the Golden Idol style is almost all about deduction. The information is very easy for you to access. It's pretty much all right there. There's no friction on that part. And so everything is your ability to synthesize the information you are given. Whereas another option is, okay, what if all of the information isn't immediately available to the player and they have to work for it? And the Root Trees is a sort of like a mixture of the two, where you're given some amount of information, you have leads, go looking for more information. You'll hopefully get more information with those leads you've developed, and then you bring in your new information and it either answers the question you're looking for, or you have to make it into a new set of leads and go out and investigate again. And I think that sort of like leads, investigation, new information loop is really cool. They've cited a Golden Idol as one of the inspirations as well. And I think that's a very cool way to change the formula. And I'm excited to see more people play the Root Trees, get inspired by that as well, and try different twists on it. So those are just some of the things I'm looking forward to with it. And then the Golden Idol guys in Rise have continued to improve and add new twists and bits to their puzzles in game. So they've continued making overall a great experience.
I would say that the thing I like most about the Golden Idol series is the scope. The base game spans 40 years. So things change, like just even the vibes change, the clothing change, the speech patterns of the people change. Like the world building of the game is different. And we'll get to the meat and potatoes of today, talking about the DLC. Like, I'm looking forward to discussing just how dumb I felt and surprised I felt when we were going through the DLCs. That was fun. That's why I felt dumb.
Oh, yeah. And The puzzles are broken into discrete cases,
Yes.
unlike, say, Obra Dinn, which is one massive interconnected thing that is not discretely broken up in the same way.
Yes.
And so like that was a shift. And I think it's something that a lot more developers were comfortable working with.
What Obra Dinn with this?
The more discrete case-based.
Yeah, it's more logical, railroady. Makes more sense.
Yeah, and you narrow the possibility space. Because instead of working with 60 suspects in one case, which is Obra Dinn, and there's probably 60 suspects you have to identify over the case of the Golden Idol, but it's broken into 11 segments. So you're never dealing with more than about 8-ish at a time.
And they build on each other in such a fascinating, what's the Russian doll? Marov doll? Marshov? I can't pronounce that.
Matryoshka?
Doll. Like they build each other. They build each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then when you play through a second time, you'll definitely notice the breadcrumbs for what's coming. I was looking around one guy's bookshelf, and there wasn't any words to collect on that bookshelf. But looking at the titles of the books, it was like, oh, this guy was interested in what he ends up doing later in the game from very early on. And I missed that completely the first time.
Are we talking about Golden Idol or something else?
Oh, yeah. In case the Golden Idol.
Yeah.
What's his name? Edmund Cloudsley has a bunch of books on his shelf that's like Building the Perfect Society or something like that.
Yes. I also did not catch that until later, until I started rewatching walkthroughs.
Yeah, and just little stuff like that. And you're like, oh, this was all planned.
I honestly don't know what I expected. Like, it's such a wild ride where at the end you're having a whole secret society, revolution, like secret cults. The Golden Idol, I was honestly expecting Indiana Jones of the Temple of Doom vibe. This went sideways.
Yeah. I don't even know what I was expecting the first time anymore. But now that I know what the vibe is, that's what I expect going into it. Like, all right, what kind of weird shit are we going to get?
Oh, yeah. The second game, which we'll talk about in detail later, I was just like, well, throw my preconceived notions out the fucking window. Just like the prologue in the main game where you get, spoiler, it's in the picture. In the very first picture, you see a guy getting shoved off a cliff. That's kind of how I felt. Like, that's not a spoiler. Like, that's literally the first thing you see when you boot up in the first chapter. Someone getting got.
All right. Do you have any more thoughts on the base game?
It felt really dumb. Really dumb in the last chapter. You're like, the callbacks, you're like, man, am I smarter than this? Like, how did I not see this one coming? Actually, so-and-so, like, it spans 40-something years. Like, all right.
Yeah, that was very well done. It's an excellently created aha moment.
The clues are all there. You just got to be cognizant enough to have seen it. And it's a good gotcha moment. You don't feel cheated. It was there the whole time. If you were observant enough, you would have caught it earlier. But it's a game, you miss certain things. It was in front of you. And that was a good lesson for this game. Or a good lesson just in life, too.
Yeah, I really found that it was easy for me to almost tunnel vision, treat each individual case like a highly like self-contained logic puzzle and sort of not think about a higher level view of what's going on. And I know I did that the first time I played through. And so then when these big reveals hit, I was like, oh, what is all of this? And then realizing I overlooked so much just because of the way I was approaching the puzzles.
Yeah, you got to go back in time.
Yeah, so I've been trying not to make that mistake continuing on in the series.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I've seen what they can do once, and now it's like, oh, okay, I got to look out for this again.
Yeah, you don't want to get got. You don't want to feel like a dummy.
Yeah, and I've gotten better about it, but definitely I still miss some stuff in that same way of like, okay, I was not connecting the dots through the series of cases in a way that I could have.
Honestly, I thought it was just like people dying and then passing the idol off to the next person because they kind of sealed the fate of the last carrier of the idol for each thing. And you realize like, 40 years is a long time as an absolute number of time, but people live longer than that. So yeah, it makes sense that people will show back up again. They'll have their own motivations. The world feels more lived because even though the story doesn't follow that character, even if they're like in chapter 2 versus the last chapter, like their life continued on without you knowing the part of the story. And that kind of world building was refreshing.
Yeah, and it's a reflection of their construction of the puzzle game as well, where they came up with the larger story first and then broke it into case-sized bytes. And so it wasn't an issue of, oh, we've built all these cases, now we have to figure out how to string them together in some artificial way. It was always, these are slices of a coherent single story.
And other mediums could take that kind of preparation into advisement.
Yes, definitely. Looking at you, certain game development.
Positive Marvel.
I mean, probably the same problems, same forces.
Oh, they got more external forces than this. This is a small indie game developer.
Yeah, at this point, it was just two brothers.
That's super small.
Yeah, they've later hired, I want to say, a half dozen other writers to help out with stuff. But, I mean, I could be wrong on the sizes there. That's just sort of my vibe. Are you ready to dive into the DLCs and the spoiler zone?
Yes, let's do this.
All right, let's just do it. It is now time for the spoiler zone. You have been warned.
The Spider of Lanka.
Yeah. So this guy starts as a distant prequel to the events of Case of the Golden Idol and opens in the Kingdom of Lanka, a completely new place on a card game that's gone horribly wrong. Literally a room full of bodies everywhere.
The bodies hit the floor. It was my favorite puzzle out of all the DLC chapters because it's just such a what the fuck moment. Like you just start the game and it's just bodies everywhere. They're obviously death because of gambling issues. It's like the Mos Eisley Cantina scene, but with death.
Oh yeah, I loved having to backtrace the events, being like, okay, so this guy's got a trident wound. This guy had a trident. Okay, but then after that, he was killed by who? Who had the throwing circles?
Yeah, the back of the dude's head. This one had more clues based on visual than other puzzles in the game, where I think this chapter was literally only this one screen. You didn't have any other rooms. You were just on the fight and the details of the fight within that room.
Yeah, and there was less reliance on the information inside the hard points that you have to open to investigate, and more sort of like just the entire room itself.
You have to figure out what the cards actually mean, how do they score and stuff like that. But again, all the clues were there. It just takes time. It didn't really take cleverness. Again, not an insurmountable puzzle, but just visually a mouthful to chew on. And I liked it better than the other puzzles where you got to go a lot of back and forth and everything. So this was a very good starter puzzle because, again, it was just one page.
Yeah. And then after this case, we move on to a more traditional one with multiple rooms. It's a trial for two heirs to the throne, in which one of them does not survive the trial. And you've got to figure out what was going on in this scene. Like, why did one of the people die? You know, what was supposed to happen? Who's plotting? And it's got a lot of different threads to pull on, which was good. This one ended up being the hardest for me. I failed to decipher the coded messages because I tried to make things way more complicated than they actually were. And I was trying to derive like the mathematical formula for this code.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out, no, that's not how you were supposed to do it. You were supposed to just take all the words that are associated with the image that you're told is the key. And they gave you an example of this working with a lion. So it was anything related to lion words, which ended up being a really cool cipher in the end. But yeah, I was sitting there trying to make this so much harder than it was. And
I fucking brute forced that sucker. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at my brain just locked up like the fuck.
Yeah. Not one of the puzzles that my brain locked onto. Or say that part of it. The rest of the stuff, though, sort of like decoding, okay, which color came from which type of insect, what was going on here, who was supposed to win this trial, who fucked it up.
Was it on purpose? What was the motive?
And then, yeah, finding out it was a little shithead prince, killed his sister.
So that's the thing about this game. This is the puzzle that made me realize that there are no heroes in this story. In my notes, in caps, I wrote, so many characters are shitheads. Next line is, so much greed. That is this entire story. Like, the philosophy of the main game and here are like, you have the biblical context of praying to like golden calf and stuff like that. But like, yo, they're just so on the nose with everybody's a shithead. What?
And it works for me here.
It's not a feel-good game, I'll tell you that.
You feel good when you solve the puzzle, but yeah, when you're thinking about the events, you're like, and yep, they're all killing each other.
In this world, like you bury your head in your books to solve the puzzle and you don't want to interact with people because holy shit, everyone's a shithead. And I think in the base game too, there are no heroes here. And like the whole point of the base game was like to build a utopian society of the four virtues. So this is where they start getting it. Like all of it's built on this civilization's idol. Well, you don't get to the idol yet. So I guess we'll keep going.
So in the last case, the police are trying to arrest the Spider of Lanka, who's some sort of spy. And you get to decipher who the spider is and how he escaped the trap that was laid for him.
Oh, yeah. You got the spider, the moth, a guy getting hit in the head with a hatchet.
Yeah. And they give you a comic, just metaphorically describe the events with a bunch of anthropomorphized animals.
I think they're all bugs. They are all bugs.
Yeah. And once you get to that point, it really helps to put together the meta story of the expansion. Yeah. That was one of the things that was easier to miss in the base game. So I think they put that in there to be like, all right, for people who didn't put together that this spider character was manipulating everyone, here's a very naked metaphor for it.
Having one of the moths have a beard. Clearly, that's the old man. Yeah, beard equal old man.
Yeah. And I ended up actually like flipping back to the first case to confirm the person's identity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got to go back in time. Because at the time, I did not take notes. So yeah, I had to go back and forth. So much easier on a computer than on a Steam Deck.
Oh, yeah. I felt like the puzzles weren't that crazy. It felt like a nice sort of wrapping up of the three set of cases with fairly complex but not unmanageable sections. So you could usually break it into pretty discrete chunks. And especially because they really helped with the solution layouts by sort of each little subsection of the solution you need to fill out helps you do the building blocks for the final section.
Oh, absolutely. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. What are the ranks for all the guards? How do you decode the messages they were giving each other? And at the end of it makes it a lot
manageable,
a lot easier to then do the big piecing together. Now, so overall, this one felt like a continuation onward.
It was good in that, and it brought back the character from the prologue in the first game.
Good old Oberon.
We'll see. It's not the last time we'll see of him.
Yeah, because it turns out he shows up again in the second expansion, the Lemurian Vampire.
Where more people are dicks to each other.
Oh, yeah. This one straight up opens with a warning that it's challenging, and you should play the base game first to learn all the mechanics. And it delivered.
Yeah, this one added time difference. Like, it added afternoon, night, for example. So, like, same places, it's just different times of the day in the later chapters. But you have some of the same characters coming in from the Spider of Lanka because they got away and stuff. And this is the first time in the DLC, I think, you hear about the Golden Idol. Still hear about it in the Spider of Lanka.
I think it's very tangentially referenced. Yeah, and so here the characters are heading to the island where the Golden Idol is rumored to be, and they get shipwrecked and are picked up by the society of people living there. So your first case is understanding how the society works and the structure with the council who makes the decisions, all the kids just playing with gems in the street because nobody cares that gems are valuable elsewhere. And it introduces the promise blocks. If somebody does a favor for you, it's marked with this block that they can then give back to you to recall the favor, and you have to do something for them.
John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen John Wick?
It's been a little while.
They have markers for the same reason, but with blood.
Yeah, I think these are just wood, no blood. But yeah, as you mentioned, it introduces multiple time states for a case. So you start out, you can see, call it the 3 locations in the village in the morning. And then there's a little like clock in the upper corner, and you can click that and flip it to afternoon. And it's the same 3 village locations, but now the people are different. There's different hard points to investigate. And since time has moved, you can figure out what people did or referenced, and that will help you in solving what's going on.
In this one of the puzzles is the timeline of the island. And if you read enough sci-fi, you should have an idea of what's going on. But because the story starts in such like a primitive manner, villagers with like nothing. So, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, piecing together the story of the society, that took me a long time the first time because I was trying to put 2 blocks significantly backwards.
Mm.
So that ended up being really tough. And then for the second case, that really escalates in complexity because the second case has 3 time states in it. And here you start to see a lot more of the deeper machinations at work in the village because the shithead prince from the previous expansion,
Yep. The head shithead.
yeah, he can be the next sentinel. And the sentinel tends to get a lot of respect in the village. He uses that to just be pampered, which is very on brand for him. And he ends up getting killed overnight. And there was a very, very good misdirect because he's killed in a room with a big window overlooking a pond. And in that pond is a bunch of piranha-looking fish. And you don't see how he's killed. Just like you see he's in the room at night, and then in the morning, there's a skeleton there. And so my first thought was, oh, well, of course, whoever killed him just lowered the body out of the window into the pond. The piranhas ate all the flesh and left the skeleton, and then they hoisted the skeleton back up. So I saw that, and instantly that was my working assumption for the case. And I had a lot of trouble solving this case because that working assumption turned out to not be correct.
Kill your assumptions, man.
Yeah, I needed to do that, and I didn't do it quickly enough. The breadcrumbs are all there for you to figure out what's going on, but it does require some pretty significant, I don't want to say exactly logical leaps, but you do have to think about the possibility space quite a bit.
Yes.
Before everything eventually lines up.
People are messy bitches, man.
Yeah, so you get to find out that there's this statue outside the village that seems to threaten it, and you need to do incantations to keep it from waking up and coming and messing with people. And it starts to turn out that, hey, this statue seems to be remotely controlled from a room in the bottom of the village. So somebody here is actually fucking with everyone.
So normally I like to be cagey about spoilers, but now is the time that I'm going to just be like, yo, I'm just going to spoil this now. So we good?
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. Yo, it's a fucking robot. The fuck?
Yeah, it's a robot using the idol.
Isn't the idol part of the robot too? They're parts to a whole, like a whole system. But either way, it's not magic. It's technology.
Yeah.
Granted, technology is so advanced enough, it just looks like magic. I get it. But still, it's a robot.
Mm-hmm. And you piece together that sometimes these sentinels will die by doing the incantation to keep the robot sealed. And you realize, oh, the idol can suck life out of people. You know that from the base game. So somebody's been using this to suck life out of people and get that life for themselves. And that's where the title comes from. Because this is Lemuria, and somebody is
vampiring.
They're stealing the life of other people.
It's a robot on a primitive island. I was like, what?
Yeah, quite the double take.
What a twist. And what else do you want to talk about? The second case, right? The second case is when the shithead prince dies.
Yeah.
And then the third case is the crescendo.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel on like the complexity level on the second case?
The second case took me a while. It was getting the motive that was the hard part. Like when the characters were tasked to give a gift to Shithead Prince, which I'm going to keep calling him that. That was easy because you have all the context because they're physical. Well, they talk about, I got to bring Shithead, this stuff. But motive took me a while of plug and chuck. But because people had first and last names, it hamstrung my ability to cheat and see which one changed twice.
Oh, like, yep. It was resistant to the tinkering.
Yeah, because normally, as we might have said earlier, if you have 2 things wrong, it will tell you have 2. 3 or more, it'll just tell you you have 3 or more. So I was trying to brute force that. But again, because of first and last names, we already got 2. So, well, shit. That is their anti-cheat protection. Damn you, first and last names.
Yeah, this one challenged me a lot. The biggest problem was my bad assumption at the beginning and me trying to fit how the death and the piranhaing into there, and then eventually realizing, oh, actually, no, that's not how any of this worked. Because of that, I had about half of the solution had been constructed wrong.
Yeah, starting with a bad assumption. It's hard to not throw good money after bad.
Yep, I threw plenty of good money after that bad.
This is the week that I think I had the flu or something. I was just in bed most of the time, so I was playing in bed on my computer. So like my brain was fried, so that's why I partly brute forcing it.
Yeah, and then afterwards, when you can find the solve path when you go back once you know what the solution is, The breadcrumbs are all there.
Anything in life is easy when you know what the answer is.
Yeah, but I always find it interesting to go back to this type of puzzle once I know what the solution is and try and figure out, okay, what are the clues that I missed? And this one, like afterwards, you see everything like, oh, okay, we know that there's the ancestors here. We can see one of the jars has been disturbed. So somebody pulled out an old body.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that makes sense. And it explains stuff.
You're right in that this one, the DLCs required much more visualization than the base game.
Yeah, and the ability to extrapolate a bit more from, oh, the jars that hold the bodies were disturbed. What does that mean? It's like, well, that means somebody took a body and put it somewhere. And then it's like, oh, okay, so I see the body's here now. What does that mean?
Context clues.
Yeah. Then for the final case, Oberon Geller and Albert Cloudsley show up and are mind-boggled by just the gems all over the place that the kids are playing with as toys. And they offer to take care of the tower dweller for the village.
In case no one realized it, the names that he just said are from the prologue of the base game.
Yeah.
So like you find out everything going full circle.
And the final part of the case is those two walking out of the cave, out onto the cliffside, and one of the guys thinking, I might need to kill the other guy. So it's like...
He knows. He knows. He could read my mind.
Yeah. So Cloudsley thinks that Geller can read minds because he tricks the villagers with that. And Cloudsley thinks about killing Geller and then is like, uh-oh, if he can read my mind, I better do it quickly. And so it cuts off right there all of, 30 seconds before the opening of Case of the Golden Idol?
Yeah, man. It's becoming too powerful. Kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this last case gives an explanation on why the Lemurian Vampire hadn't taken the idol out of the statue before. They didn't know one of the code phrases needed for that. This last case, I didn't think was that crazy complex. I definitely had a lot more trouble with the second out of the three.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
I've seen a lot of implications that a lot of people thought this DLC was too complex with too many moving parts. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that or even have any thoughts there.
I think it needed to be, right? Knowing what I know now about the next game, this story-wise, the second DLC had a heavy lift in pushing the world further. Even though I said earlier, this is a primitive society, agrarian society, and there's technology, like in the next game, right? The Rise of the Golden Idol is set in the equivalent of our 1970s, right? And this is equivalent of 1800s. But to make that logical leap in technology is a tough sell for people. And the revelation who was the one using the idol on the island and everything, I didn't see that coming until the very end. I was like, oh shit, this isn't a benevolent or malicious entity. It's a plan. It's somebody's plan. It's gotta be complex, right? There was a couple of twists in this DLC, whereas the base game had a straightforward vibe to it. The goal was to get these characters to the island, but Lemurian Vampire's goal is, why is this world in this game the fundamental item is based on? And that deserved a complex answer.
Yeah, and I didn't end up thinking it was too complex. Like, I enjoyed the more moving parts and having more stuff to consider, but I'm also that kind of sicko, so may not be the best metric for that.
Same for me. It's like, well, this game though, especially this chapter, a lot of, what the fuck's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What? What a twist. And as I said earlier, like, the game is not insurmountable. The solutions are there. I never felt cheated in it, but it was complex. As I said earlier, like, I did have to brute force some puzzles, but I have the option of just guessing until I get it right.
Yeah, and there is a pretty robust hint system as well if you want to use that.
Oh, no, we never using hints. We're getting that achievement.
Yeah, because one of the options is you can actually see which items you have wrong in a given paragraph. Like, I think you can use that, 3 times per game or something?
I don't even know that.
It was one of the Redux settings.
I just know that if I needed a hint, I'd rather go through a walkthrough so I can keep my achievements.
Yeah, so that system helped occasionally. I ended up testing it out because I wanted to see how it worked. And that can be nice to be like, oh, wait, this section is wrong? What am I doing wrong here? Now, it doesn't tell you what the right answers are, But if you know which 4 words you have wrong, it can help you to be like, all right, if this is wrong, what assumptions did I make that got me here that are incorrect? And that felt really nice. Yeah, I really like this one. I feel like it was a great sort of wrap up for the first game. They tied everything up in a nice little bow from the prologue to the events. And yeah, they experimented with some new ideas, especially the multiple time states, which will show up again in the series.
So I'm looking at the achievements. This is one of the few games that I managed 100%, which is not difficult because it's all about just going through the puzzles. And apparently the finish rate for just the base game is like 65% plus of people who finished the last case. That feels really high.
Yeah, for Steam games, oof.
Yeah. I'm like comparing myself to some friends right now in the achievements. I'm like, yo, I need to get them to finish it though. But 60-something percent, that's very high.
Yeah, not as many people finish this DLC.
I mean, probably because they don't buy it.
Yeah, which I think was totally worth it. I had a blast with it.
I really liked learning more about the world building, and the next game is just also a continuous of like, what the fuck? And we'll talk about that in the future.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on this before we transition outward?
Total gameplay time I have on this is a little under 7 hours. That includes the DLC. I was also pretty damn sick in bed, but it's worth a playthrough. I enjoyed it. As I said, I enjoyed the world building. But it's like 7 hours. 7 hours not bad.
Yeah, I just checked. I have 16.4 hours, but that's also 2 full playthroughs and then some like opening up to check stuff as well.
That sounds about right. Would I pay full price $18? I'd wait for a sale.
I'd pay that, but I'm also a sucker for these kind of games, so I'm definitely all in on that one. So what else have you been playing lately?
I've been playing Helldivers 2, so if you're listening to this, they're probably far in the future. Tomorrow is when the Xbox players join Helldivers 2, so I'm excited to have ODST or Halo stuff. And my favorite, don't really think and just have a good time. I just finished also playing Orwell Keeping an Eye on You. That's also a short game that's like 4 hours long. Are we going to review it? If people want us to, but it's too close to real life right now, even though it came out in, I believe, 2016. My long game is Disco Elysium right now. I try to put a couple of hours a week into that game, but that's such a massive game.
I need to get further into that guy too.
Oh, I also finished my second playthrough of Murder on the Orient Express. I'm so looking forward to talking about that game.
Nice. Yeah, we plan to record on that one next week.
Yes. And I need a short game to mix it up. So I usually do a long game, which in this case is usually Disco Elysium, and a short game. Any suggestions?
It's a whole bunch of fun options.
And at Jenny LeClue.
Ooh, that one's not actually as short as you'd think.
Fudge.
You have Unheard, Voices of Crime?
Yes, I do.
That's a fairly short, contained game, and I think that one's a really cool one that has a lot of interesting ideas.
It looks scary. It looks spooky.
It's not particularly spooky. I'm not really sure why it's got that. Oh, it's a little meta thing. It's not particularly scary.
It looks spooky. We're going to find out what kind of spooky, how much spooky I can deal with, I suppose.
I'm not a horror fan, and I did not find this one even remotely a problem. So I think you should be fine.
I mean, yeah, I'm a big boy. So what are you playing?
I wrapped up Riley and Rochelle. That one is like piecing together a musician documentary thing, and I did a bunch of the extra stuff for that. And then I'm very slowly playing through.
Oh, I own this already. What?
The Darkest Files. And it's good. It's just I keep getting into it and then getting interrupted and having to like restart that section. So
Story of our lives, my man.
I should have some more time for that, hopefully this week. And then, yeah, outside of that, I've been screwing around with some Victoria 3 mods. Anne Banar is almost done. So it's like a fantasy overhaul for Victorian industrialization. That's what I've been up to. You can find us on Blue Sky at Flatfoots and Fools, one word, at bsky.social. The podcast is edited by Peter Crevier. Podcast art is by Lolita Gross. And music by Antonic Music. And we'll see you again soon.
Bye. Stay safe out there.